All right, it's 7 o'clock, Monday, April 17, 2023. This is the time set of this commission meeting for the city of Tioga. We'll start with the budget.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll start with the minutes for the April 3rd, 2023 regular commission meeting and April 3rd, 2023 equalization meeting as well.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
With the motion and a second to approve, no questions, comments, or concerns from the board, we'll move the vote.
Yes.
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 So moved. All right, does anybody have any modifications to the agenda? Nope.
Motion to approve. No second.
All right, no modifications. We're gonna approve, motion to approve the agenda as it stands. With a motion as a second, no questions, comments, or concerns from the board, we'll move the vote.
Yes.
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 All right, so moves, and we'll go straight into old business, legal. Good evening, Liz.
Evening. Good to see you all. I don't have much to share this evening, guys. I will be participating. Let me just make sure, do another review of the agenda here. I'll be participating as needed. We do have a pretty light agenda. I'll probably be following along as Josh gives his presentation this evening, just so I can update myself accordingly on those projects to the degree that I'm involved. And we'll keep it short and snappy tonight. That's all I have to share.
All right, thank you. Josh, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. Have a few items to go over with you tonight. Again, it's kind of the last time. There's a few projects on here. We have quite a bit going on. So again, I'm just kind of trying to keep everything in front of you. But if there's a few things that haven't had major developments, we just want to keep everything in front of us. So South Main Street reconstruction. At this time, there's no real updates. I imagine here in the coming weeks, we'll get with Liz and the contractor there to figure out some more details on the path forward on that. So next item, Northeast reconstruction phase 2. Contractor did get some of the snow hauled out before the melt here, so that was very helpful with some of the runoff and whatnot, and they've been taking care of addressing some soft spots in the roads as they come up, and hopefully here in the next few weeks we'll see some more activity on construction on that. Haven't received their schedule yet because it's kind of looming with the weather here, so hopefully we'll be seeing something soon with the improved weather here. So next item, the Tioga Dam Emergency Action Plan and Safety Improvements. Again, not much has happened there yet with the snow cover hopefully about gone out there. We should be able to get going on that here prior to the next meeting, so we'll have hopefully some more details on where things, what project is going to be on that one here come the first meeting. So, Tioga Dam Recreational Trail Project. Did start some of the survey work last week in some of the areas that were clear. The northern edge had quite a bit of snow cover left, so they weren't able to get up there and keep the survey work, but, I'll probably take a look at that area before I leave, let them know if they can make it out there or not, so. But yeah, service, the portions they did get to, things went well, but, two areas remain, so. Any questions related to any of those projects? Okay. Next item is the 3rd Street Northwest and North Hanson Street reconstruction project. We did hold the bid opening April 5th at 1:30. In your packet is the bid tabulation from the project. There were 3 bids received. The low bidder on it is Crow River Construction. Their bid of $2,987,826 would be the low bid on that. The estimate on it was right at 2.6 million, so they're roughly 15% over the estimate. These construction prices are just all over the place, as they have been for a year, for the last several years, so. With that, I guess, any questions or comments on that? I did hand out the letter for recommendation of award, the engineer's statement of cost for the entire project cost, as well as the notice of award for approval and signature should the commission decide to award that contract.
All right. So, the board, you guys have had an opportunity to review the documents that he gave you. If so, do we have a motion to approve or deny the cost that 2.9 million for that construction?
Well, I guess with this, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion to approve the cost. The second, no questions, comments, or concerns regarding the cost, we'll move to vote on that.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so moves. And then is there a motion to award the project to Crow River Construction?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion in a second, no questions, comments, concerning the board, will we vote?
Yes.
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 Opposed?
The next item I have then is the KS Industries, the water and sewer extension project. Included in your packet is set of the preliminary plans as of towards the end of last week. Just wanted to provide you with an opportunity to take a look at the plans. We'll set up a review here prior to finalizing them with Jeff and Tim and anyone else who'd like to attend. And planning on likely at the next call with that one, have those for approval. So, any questions related to that one? Pine Ridge subdivision roadway improvements. Again, I have preliminary drawings for that project included. Again, probably looking at the next meeting, having final drawings for approval at that time, and I'll be working with Abby on some of that special assessment stuff, in the meantime, to get the resolution and all that, ready for approval, so. The Tioga soccer field design and floodway modeling. We have the floodway modeling 95% complete. We'll be going through our final reviews of that and getting the documentation ready for submittal to the state for approval of that. So that should be moving along here as well. Let's see, added an item. I did have a meeting with Tim and Jeff last week regarding the city SCADA system, which that's essentially connectivity between all the lift station and water plant and water tower, those major components of the system for alarms and all that. There's a few that had been on the system. I don't know exactly what the time frame was that there were some issues experienced with it, but I think it being resolved with preferred controls integrator that put that system together for the city. So with that though, kind of what the discussion was with getting everything. I think there's 3 or 4 locations that are connected to that system currently. And there's probably 10 total locations that to bring that in. So we were looking at what the needs may be there to make that a reality. So we're looking into some of the details on that and what's existing, what we need to be replaced or expanded upon to make that happen. So we'll be putting together kind of a summary of what all the desires there are for that. So probably have that at the next meeting as well. So busy one again. With that, I think that covers everything I have. Unless there's any further questions for me?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, we'll move into new business, vacancy on the library board.
We have Jessica on Meadow, she is in out of state. So she turned in her letter of resignation and I'm seeking permission to advertise for a library board. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. All right, with a motion and a second to advertise for the position. Questions, comments, or concerns over the vote? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Still moves. All right, into probation for
Yes. So Joel Sheffield is our police officer, who's been here 90 days, and his probation is from seeking permission to end his probation and up his pay. I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All right, with a motion to approve in a second, no questions, comments, goes from the board, will we do vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Send it to you. All right. Estimates for a new new sweeper and a pop machine.
So this sweeper is just easy. It's a smaller sweeper. It does the edges correctly at the community center. So I'm seeking permission to purchase that with an extra battery and the popcorn machine, which we use for a lot of events. But we usually get the popcorn from the theater and we have to reimburse the theater. This way the community center has one on. But it's not as large. As the community was.
Everybody had an opportunity to review that? If not, I have it here.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second to approve. No questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, so moves. All right, estimate for water tower inspection.
So every few years, we have an inspection in our water tower and I'm seeking permission to hire utility service company to come in and inspect the inside of our water tower. It needs to be done by state standards, so they come in and they take pictures of it and inspect the inside and make sure that it's good for drinking water.
I make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All right, with a motion to approve in a second. With a motion to approve in a second, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, so moves. All right, next thing on the agenda is Renaissance zone applications.
So the applications are from the same person. It's for our own coffee shop that's coming into town. It just seems weird because it's in two separate applications, but it's for two separate LLCs. It's very common in other places. So it is the same person. It's better business to do this one. And the state had to look at it and they said that that's very common.
Does the board have an opportunity to review it? All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. To accept.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, with a motion and a second, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, so moves. Johnson Control Service Agreement for the police department and the community center.
So we do have an agreement already for City Hall and the museum, but now we're gonna combine, the police department and the community center for the sprinkler inspection, the fire inspection, the emergency lights, the fire extinguishers, and all the things that need to be inspected. So I'm seeking permission to have Kevin sign the service agreement for Johnson Control. They can let me know, and I'm gonna do all of them.
All right, has the board been able to review that?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second, no questions, comments, or concerns from the board, vote.
Yes.
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 All right, I believe this is gonna be Dan.
Good evening, Dan Larson with Planning and Zoning. Before you, you have kind of a outline or a statement of, I think it's 4 areas that need to be renamed or corrected and added names to it. The first one is on the northeast side of Tioga, up by Hess. Would be a continuation of Signal Road, starting at Highway 40, going east for a half mile, which would take us to the city limits. That was prompted, I guess, for several reasons, but the main one is that Hess is doing a building project out there this summer that needs to be addressed. And I have been in contact with Hess for probably the past year or so on the need for the changing of the addresses out there to an urban number. And so when the building project was mentioned a year or so ago of the possibility of that, well, we'll wait until then. And then is now. So that's number one. And then number 2 is on the south side of Tioga on 67th Street Northwest. The current map shows part of the distance is 7th Street Southeast. From Highway 40 to Murex Petroleum. And then from there, it's 67th Street to the west. There's several issues with that, and with Continental being a rural address number when they're in city limits. So there's several things that will be corrected and will be, adjusted in this. But the corrected name should be 8th Street Southeast from Highway 40 westerly to Main Street south, and then from Main Street westerly would be 8th Street Southwest. So you have the southeast and the southwest, to divide the Main Street, from the east, from the west. Okay. That would go out to past or to the end of the city limits, where the Hess rail yard ends out there on 67. And then the third is renaming or naming of Highway 40 between 68th Street or Signal Road and 67 for, which would be 8th Street for that mile there. Pinnacle, several other properties along the way there, both on the east side and the west side, are rural numbers, and those are all city limits. So they need to be changed and corrected in that region also. And there were several names mentioned, and I have them written down here for that naming on Highway 40. One was Oil Capital, and then you could have an option of Way, Boulevard, Road, Avenue, whatever. The second one was Tioga, Way, Boulevard, Avenue, whichever. The third one was Peaceful Valley, Way, Boulevard, Road, or Avenue. So that one there would be your choice of what you would want to name that. And then the fourth location would be down south end, where KSI has their property that was recently annexed into the city. They are building a office complex down there, and that has to be addressed, and that needs to be urban address also because it's in city limits. With all of this being said here, I have been in contact with the county, the GIS department, and also with Helen Hascom, the planning and zoning, director or administrator or whatever over there. And she has sent several emails back to me confirming the method and what we're doing is the correct thing to do and needs to get done. The county has been just for just a little bit brief thing. I don't know if I go into it too much here, but they are working with the state, or the state is working with them, training them in for the 911 addressing and the mapping. And Tioga is one area of just about every area in the county, or even the state that needs to have things corrected and updated, so that the addressing can work, or the 911 system can work properly. I guess try to put it simply in that sense. And then also at the same time it came up in discussion with this was our city limit sign where it says Tioga. That's all it says out there. There's one sign that's right in front of the community center. And then there's one sign right in front of the Pinnacle store. That would be kind of the way you enter into town and, oh, you're now entering Tioga. Our city limits have expanded beyond that to the north and also to the south. I contacted the county highway department, or the state, actually the state highway department over in Williston. And they moved the signs for us. We just need the approval from you that, it's okay for them to move them. And they would be located in front of the KSI, just north of 66th Street. Coming in, and then the north side would be near the water tower, or the rural water tower area on the north side of 40 there. So, any questions or?
Just for my clarification real quick, so with number one, right, the Signal Road. So we're just, if the motion is approved, then it should really signal going eastbound from 40 as well.
Right. Everything to the west of 40 is already named.
Right, we're just.
So we're just extending Signal Road.
Okay.
I think it makes sense to try to keep the names the same as much as possible throughout. And then it would go up, basically, I believe it is to the edge of the city limits in that mile.
All right, any other questions regarding this from the board? Okay, so there's going to be multiple motions regarding this one. We'll go one at a time. So we'll start with number one, the renaming of 68th Street from Highway 40 eastbound to the city limits sign, or city limit area, rename it from, or to Signal Road. Is there a motion?
I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll go to vote on that.
Yes.
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 All right, so moves. The next motion will be 67th Street. Changed, so it's gonna be number 2 on here, 67th Street, and the correction of 7th Street Southeast to the corrected name of 8th Street Southeast from Highway 40 to South Main Street, and then from South Main Street to the city limit sign west of 105th to 8th Street, with the correct designation southeast or southwest, depending on what side of Main Street it's on.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
All right, there's no questions, comments, or concerns about that motion. We'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, the next one will be the renaming, the renaming of Highway 40 from through the city limits, is that fair enough?
It'd be through the, yeah, mostly, I guess that would be fair. I mean, city limits does extend beyond that, but they're a flagpole type of extension.
Right,
And the GIS had recommended that we go to that, just within that 1 mile.
okay,
That's where the bulk of the issues are, and to go especially to the south doesn't make sense,
right,
because it's, yeah.
right. Okay, so then we'll just do that, renaming of Highway 40, from 68th Street Northwest to 67th Street Northwest. Now, we'll start with the motion to change the name, and then we'll go with the name.
Yeah.
So, oil capital, Tioga, or Peaceful Valley, and each of them can be Way, Boulevard, Road, or Avenue.
What did you like, Tim?
I think oil capital.
You guys like oil capital? Like it?
Oil Capital Avenue?
I do, it's like it.
Yeah, no.
I-
Avenue, way, whatever.
I like, personally, I like Way. Because roads throughout the county, roads and avenues, they all go specific ways. I really think that Way or Boulevard would be one of the better options. What do you guys think?
I'll make a motion to go with oil capital way.
Okay, so we have a motion to change and go with Oil Capital Way.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second to change it. There's no questions, comments, or concerns. We'll move to vote.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Congratulations, it's a street.
thanks for helping.
Or I'm sorry, it's a way, not a street. Okay, the next one will be, we need a motion for the addition of 18th Street Southeast from Highway 40. It's the end of the line.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second to add 18th Street Southeast. No questions, comments, or concerns from the board. We'll move to vote.
Yes,
Yes.
All right, so moves. And then the last thing we need a motion for is moving of the Tioga signs. So I need a motion to move the signs from their current locations to, we're gonna go for the southern marker, be just north of 66th, right?
66, yeah.
Right? And then for the northern marker will be at roughly 20th Street, which is the dam road.
It'd be just north of 20th Street, so it'd be north of
Okay, say it, the dam road.
Dam Road.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll say that. So would that be a time to lower that speed limit out there then, since that's city limit?
I had, along with this email to the state, I had put a second paragraph to that. As a reminder of, when I look back at the records, it was 3 years ago, well, actually 4 years ago, 19. There was a request from the board here for them to check into it. And looked at the email records, and somewhere it just got lost. they didn't get followed through with. So I asked them to let's enter into this conversation. There has been a complaint, if you will, or a concern that was expressed to me here probably a month or two ago from a school bus driver, where there was a concern where pickups or automobiles, when he makes a stop or he turns in, where there's been several not an incident, but where it could have been an incident, it's got a little risky. And then just because some of that speed limit, Brad, in front of Ronnie Lund's, just past his driveway, his house is 65 miles an hour. I mean, so, okay, I'm gonna punch it and I'm late to work and I gotta go, and then here's a school bus up there, it's slowing down and turning. And likewise, coming into town and coming down the hill, it's still technically 65 miles an hour. And then just in front of, I don't know, several hundred yards or whatever is a speed limit of 45. Well, you've got the stop and go line right there. It just doesn't, the signage just doesn't match up with the environment.
So it's something we can look into though.
It is something that I am going to pursue.
Okay.
And if we need further, but backing, I will talk to the school. I will talk to you guys, whatever, the police department.
I think there was a lot of support. Like,
Yeah.
I said, a lot of people. Want to go over.
All right. So with already a motion and a second to approve the changing of those signs. If there's no questions, comments, concerns regarding that, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves. Thank you. All right. And then ordinance 2023-04, correction to the chapter 21.0106 and 21.0.
This just came about because we had changed the nuisance ordinance. There was a change 3 years ago. And we left a little part out, so we want to add it back because it's important. It's about cutting grass. So this is an ordinance number 2023-01, an ordinance adopting community preservation and improvement regulations. Let it be ordained by the city commission of the city of Tioga, North Dakota as follows. Section 1, the city commission finds and declares that the adoption of the community preservation and improvement regulations set forth in this ordinance and the administration of the provisions of such will revise a portion of Article 21 of said chapter 21. Is hereby revised to restate and read as follows. Whenever the city auditor determines that any property of the city is being maintained contrary to one or more of the provisions of section 21.0103 of this article, the city auditor shall give written warning notice to abate to the owner of said property stating the section being violated. The notice to abate shall set forth a reasonable time limit in no event less than 7 days, calendar days for correcting the violation. And may also set forth suggested methods of correcting the same and shall be served upon the owner in accordance with the provisions of subsection E covering service in person or by mail. The addition is the following. This subsection shall not apply, however, to the plain nuisance under 21.0103P relating to weeds or grass in excess of 8 inches or higher. Then if you guys turn to subsection 21.0108, the amendment is as follows. If the nuisance is not abated as ordered within the abated period, the city auditor shall cause the same to be abated by such city employee or private contractor. The city auditor may authorize to enter upon the property of such purposes, the cost including incidental expenses of abating the nuisance shall be billed to the owner and shall become due and payable in 30 days thereafter. The term incidental expenses shall include but not be limited to personal costs, both direct and indirect costs incurred in documenting the nuisance. The actual expense and cost of the city in the preparation of notices, specifications, and contracts, and in inspecting the work, and the cost of printing and mailing the notices required hereunder. This is the added part. This subsection shall not apply, however, to a claim nuisance under section 21.0103P relating to weeds or grass in excess of 8 inches or higher. In the event of a claim nuisance under section 21.0103P relating to weeds or grass in excess of 8 inches or higher, the city is authorized with proper notice to enter upon the premises and take whatever necessary steps as might reasonably be required to abate the nuisance. Actions taken by the city, if reasonable by nature and undertaken in good faith, shall not constitute a trespass or and that was in the previous nuisance. It was just missed when we did the new one. So I'm seeking permission to have that.
Do we have to do a second reading with this one too? Okay. All right. Is there a motion? I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion and a second, no questions, comments, or concerns from the board, we'll move to vote. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves, and we'll do the second reading next week. Okay. All right, now we're gonna move into the consent approval. Consent approval consists tonight of planning and zoning applications payroll for April 7, 2023, and financials for March of 20. Okay, the permits for planning and zoning, one is for Hess. Second one is for Keys. Has everybody had an opportunity to review? And if so, is there a motion? I'll move to approve. Second. All right, with a motion to approve in a second, no questions, comments, concerns from the board, will we vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves, and that appears to end the agenda for tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I'll make a motion to adjourn. All right, with a motion and a second to adjourn, no questions, comments, or concerns from the board, will we vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, meeting is adjourned at 7:43.